Yeah! We're live, baby. And so is this fucking line that PrizePicks has been letting sit and marinate for the last week. It's free money. NBA tip-off is tomorrow. You don't have to know a fucking thing about basketball to land free money in your pocket, in your wallet, in your mortgage, in your bank account, whatever, in your purse. 0.5 points for Steph Curry. If he scores a single point on NBA tip-off tomorrow, y'all win on PrizePicks, okay? Go to PrizePicks, download the app, go to the website, whatever. Use promo code BDGE. When you sign up, they're going to hit you with a 100% deposit match. If you're new there, BDGE will get you double whatever you put down, and then you could double and triple and 5x that on Steph Curry, 0.5 points over under. I love you. Go nail it. Go support the brand. Go support your wallet. Let's talk week 6. Crazy, crazy week. As always, my teams are imploding. I started off the season so hot. All my teams were fucking 3-0 and 2-0 and 2-1, just ripping through the leaderboard. We're a mess over here, as you can see. I just can't stop taking L's. I can't stop taking losses. Anybody else out there? Can you relate? Real life, fantasy, all of it. We're falling apart by the seams. But I'm going to try my best to make sure y'all don't follow suit. So we're going to go game by game, taking away the single biggest highlight or just the biggest takeaway from each National Football League contest in week 6. We had 4 teams on bye. I don't remember who was on bye, so we're not going to list them out. I remember the Lions were on a bye. You hate to see it. The Raiders were on a bye. I do remember all the teams on a bye, but we're not going to pronounce them, even though it would have taken me less time to do that than to just start telling you I'm not going to pronounce them because we were already 2 out of the 4 ways there. The brain is working today. It is in calibration mode. We're in sniper mode, so I'm ready to get right the fuck into it. Let's start with the 49ers and the Falcons. Let's just take a minute to witness greatness here. Greatness, you say. 28, Atlanta. 14, San Francisco. We win. We're 3-3. The Niners are 3-3. We have the tiebreaker because we beat you, Tony. If you're watching out there, I hope you're not watching because I hope you'd be working right now. Maybe editing something. Maybe doing something productive. But if you're watching, we're 3-3 and we're better than you. Biggest takeaways. San Fran, there's nothing real here. Jeff Wilson has seen a little bit of a decline in playtime since Coleman's been back, and this has been a little bit less running back centric since Jimmy G took over. They are giving some passing work to Coleman. They are giving some of the third downs, to use check and guys like that. So he's a little bit game script dependent, but it was good to see the top 3 pass catchers kind of show up and show out here. Ayuk, 8 for 83, 2 touchdowns, obviously not predictive, but Kittle also went 8 for 83, Debo 7 for 79. Good to see the top 3 guys get involved. Again, it's going to be kind of like a carousel, so we're not going crazy on Ayuk. Those are all 3 guys that you just kind of want into your lineup. It's been a little nuts trying to figure anything out there, but that's not unexpected. It's exactly what we thought it was going to be going into the season. On the Atlanta side of things, man, the backfield continues to be an absolute mess of a committee with no real upside. Algier had 33 snaps to Caleb Huntley's 20. Huntley getting the goal line carries here, and neither of them catching passes. But CPAT will be back hopefully in 2 weeks. He was out for 4 weeks minimum, being put on the IR. So hopefully we see him back out there, and hopefully he starts to dominate again because he's a dominant fucking player in our backfield, and he's the best player of all time in an Atlanta Falcons uniform. But no big takeaways here. You're not really going to be able to start any of these guys because they don't have upside here, and the Kyle Pitts saga continues. But Mariota threw the ball 14 times. I don't know what you'd like anyone to do on this team. Let's move to the Patriots and the Browns. The Patriots have quite a bit of paragraphs for me to talk about here. We can start with the GOAT, the absolute GOAT, Ramondre Stevenson, right? Damian Harris out for a couple weeks. A lot of their running backs are banged up right now, so it became the Ramondre show, and for good reason. Okay, we talked about last week how he was arguably the single best buy on Mojo as a running back that you could actually invest into, right? And he went out and motherfucker, in the middle of the stream, Tony. All right, I got to do something real quick. All right, I got to do something real quick because I lost the bet to Tony. We're going to talk about Ramondre for a second. You guys can fast forward if you're watching it after. Honestly, I feel like you're wasting it, Tony. This isn't even like a good time to do it. That's a great time to do it. Fuck, I lost a bet to Tony, and he has the ability to give any amount of, or 25 push-ups to me at any single time. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter why, doesn't matter fucking, and nothing matters. And he just texted me and said I have to do them right now on stream. So I got to do 25 push-ups real quick. I hope the camera can see it. I'll set up my phone if not. Fuck. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Fuck you. We're back. Hilarious. Well, you guys already had the fucking banner set up and everything. Whatever. Ramondre, I'm not even tired. You're going to give me another fucking 50. No counting out loud. I don't count out loud. We don't waste our breath. I don't waste my breath on peasants like you, George. Fuck you guys. Ramondre Stevenson, 19 for 76. We stay focused. This is what we do. I'm not part of the content game. I am the fucking content game, and these are the rules. We stay focused. Stevenson, 19 for 76, 2 touchdowns, catches 4 passes. Got like the first 40 to 45 snaps. Didn't come off the fucking field. This was his field. This was his game. And you know, in that fucking bet that I lost that I had to do the push-ups in, I had Nick Chubb going. Guy goes 12 for 56. What a fucking schmuck. Anyways, this was very easy to see coming. Stevenson getting all the work. The Cleveland Browns run defense, atrocious. Ramondre, barring Monday Night Football, will walk away from this week tied as the RB1 in fantasy with Deon Jackson. So Stevenson's going to continue to dominate on this team. What happens when Harris comes back? Listen, I would hope that it's Stevenson's backfield going forward. I think they're going to continue to go run heavy. So I don't know if you can just completely rely on Stevenson all second half of the season if you're the Patriots staff, but he's shown it, bro. He's got it. He is him. He is that guy. So if you have Stevenson, you roll him out until there's a game where Damian Harris is back on the field and plays more than Stevenson and outproduces Stevenson. Until then, he's an RB1 or an RB2 at worst. The other thing to talk about, Taekwon fucking Thornton, the rookie wide receiver that the Pats took in the second round this spring, whenever the fucking draft was. Everyone on Dynasty Twitter hated this pick because they didn't know who he was, which allowed me to know that he was going to be a good player. If everyone hates on someone, they're probably going to be a good player. No exception here. Basically, what the Pats have tried to do is get N'Keal Harry. Absolutely swung and missed on him. Get Jonnu Smith. Swung and missed and fucking spun around at the plate. They've tried to get this versatile, explosive, athletic playmaker in their offense, and I think we have found it with Taekwon Thornton. This dude is all upper caps, over, lower, uppercase. Uppercase. Taekwon Thornton. Explosion. This dude is explosive like the Patriots do not have on offense. Have not seen on offense in a long time. This dude is 6'2" and runs a 4.28 40-yard dash. He's been out for most of the season with a collarbone injury. He finally returned in week 5. He played 25 snaps last week. That went up to 40 snaps this week. Kendrick Bourne got hurt. He came in and became, one of the every down players there. Still running behind Parker. Still running behind Jacoby Myers. I wouldn't be surprised if this dude replaces Devontae Parker semi-soon. I think your laptop mic. Hold up. Do we have a bad mic situation here? You are right about that, baby. My mic was on the laptop. Do we hear me better now? Is the mic clearer? Give me an update.
Yes. Love it. I like having a producer on the show. It's kind of nice. Lets you know when you're a fucking idiot. Back to Taekwon. He knew it. God knew it. God knew we needed a clean bill of everything to talk about Taekwon. The air is crispy. His routes are crispy. He caught 4 or 5 targets, 37 yards, had a touchdown. But as I'm, talking about the N'Keal Harry type, Jonnu Smith type, he also got 3 carries, 16 yards, scored another touchdown. So we're talking about 2 touchdowns. But importantly, they're getting involved like all the way across the field, in the backfield, on reverses, downfield, on screens. This guy can fucking fly. And this is one of those guys that people in the industry are going to do one of fucking these. I don't care about him, right? He's not a full-time player. He's just like getting fluky, explosive plays. And then in 3 weeks, they're going to be upset that they didn't pick him up. So Taekwon Thornton is one of, if not my favorite waiver wire. It's not out yet. Obviously, I have to do a lot more research. We put our waiver wire rankings out on the site tomorrow, bdge.co. Taekwon Thornton will be for sure a top 3 player to pick up for this week. I wouldn't be surprised if he's higher. He's higher in the top 3 than just number 3. So we love this dude. Okay. Go look at his player profiler page. He's super fucking explosive. Moving to the Cleveland side of the ball. I mean, nothing to take away here, realistically. And Njoku continues to be pretty consistent, but, just a down game for the rest of the players. Move over to the Jets and the Packers, man. I don't really know how the Jets win this game. I mean, I do. It's the defense, obviously. And Breece Hall. Breece Hall is the GOAT. 20 carries, 116 yards, touchdown. Here's the thing with the passing offense. Unfortunately, there's not a single startable player on the offensive side of the ball besides Breece Hall right now. Okay. You could probably hold on to Corey Davis and Garrett Wilson hesitantly, but Elijah Moore, Tyler Conklin, absolutely droppable as long as Zach Wilson is under center on the field. Like the beginning of the year was Joe Flacco throwing the ball 95 times a game. Now it's Zach Wilson throwing the ball 18 times a game. Breece Hall getting 20 carries. So he's a game manager right now, and that's really all he has to do because their defense has been playing lights fucking out. And on the flip side, they made Green Bay's offense look stinky as shit. Green Bay was terrible. Allen Lazard's been actually very consistent, but I think the sloppiness of, I really liked Romeo Dobbs and I liked his upside, but a lot of the time, I was saying he's a little bit chaotic on the field. His routes are not necessarily crispy. He's kind of all over the place, but he's an athlete. And I think that's starting to catch up to him a little bit. Randall Cobb did leave. It's a very serious injury. I think he might be out for the rest of the year. So I feel like that does probably keep Romeo Dobbs on the field permanently. So I still want to hold on to him, but I don't know if you could start him right now. Lazard, you continue to put into your starting lineup, but the running backs are in big trouble, man. And I was looking into some numbers because I know Dillon, Aaron Jones have been disappointing, but following week 1, here are A.J. Dillon's fantasy finishes. RB 31, RB 49, RB 33, RB 60, and RB 24. Right now, he's just telling us what he is. That's 5 straight weeks of really, really poor performances, okay? So we're going to treat him accordingly. He's just the back-end RB3 going forward. Now, Aaron Jones is still the RB15 on the year, but it's because of that 30.5 week 2 fantasy point game, okay? Against a shitty Chicago run defense. His next highest game, besides that week 2 game, is 13 fantasy points. Every other single game has been a single-digit fantasy point performance for Aaron Jones, man. I think a lot of it has to do with their offensive line. They're not bad, but their chemistry is a little out there. They're playing with some new pieces. They've had some injuries, so it's not. That's always been a constant for them. They've had a top 10, if not top 5 offensive line year in and year out, and they just don't really have that anymore. So, listen, I'm going to move Aaron Jones down my rankings weekly for sure. I'll understand he'll have big games, of course, going forward, but his weekly floor is really, really fucking low. Single-digit points in 4 out of the 6 games that they've had so far. So let's move. Jaguars and Colts. Biggest takeaway from the Jacksonville side of things is this backfield is slowly, not even slowly, fastly and explosively becoming Travis Etienne's backfield, and I would much rather own him than James Robinson rest of season. Etienne, 10 for 86 on the ground, had an explosive play of 48 fucking yards. This dude had 3 plays of 20-plus yards in the first quarter alone. All right? And James Robinson, he got off to that crazy start, right? Like an RB1 every single week. Absolutely shooting blanks now all over the place. Those explosive plays aren't there. He's not converting goal line carries. He's giving up some of the goal line carries. He's not getting pass catching work. ETN, like, you just watch the game and he's just so much more explosive. And we continue to think of him as like this scat back, but dude, he's built too. He's like 215 pounds. He's explosive. So I think we continue to see ETN eating away at that backfield, and he continues to be more and more of a vocal point of this offense. On the Indy side of things, not much to take away here. Deon Jackson went crazy. He tied Ramondre for the RB1 this week in fantasy. Unfortunately, he left the quad injury, and I do think Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor are both expected to be back in week 7. So we'll to see the Michael Pittman bounce bike. They played a lot of hurry up here in Indy. Led to 58 pass attempts for Matt Ryan. So you hope to see that kind of continue because Deon Jackson got 10 fucking targets. If we see that split between, and Philip Lindsay got 3 as well. So if you're talking about 10 to 15 targets a game for the running back position, Jonathan Taylor will be out of control. I'm glad he was able to kind of like rest up, hopefully come back at full strength. I think Indy plays the Titans next week. Titans have been a pretty good run defense, so it'll be tough. But I think if Taylor comes back in full strength, they take some of that run, that hurry up offense that move the chains this week. It'll be Taylor season again. Once again upon us, those who have been waiting patiently for something to come from that man. Next game, Minnesota versus Miami. Minnesota, not a ton here. There's nothing really in the box score that stands out. I will say Dalvin Cook had a really late game, like 53-yard touchdown run. So his box score is looking a little bit clean. You look at your fantasy score at the end of the day, and you're like, okay, he scored me like 15 points. Dalvin Cook doing cooking things. I would probably try to move him if I could right now based off the last couple of games. He scored a few touchdowns, which was going to come with the territory this year. He was a dude who he didn't have a lot of luck. Last year, he got tackled inside the 5-yard line like 7-8 times. So you just kind of imagine that would swing back to the normal side of things this year, and it started to do that. He just doesn't really feel like, I don't know if it's the offense, his lack of involvement in the passing game, but it kind of feels like he just doesn't have it this year, right? We're not seeing the explosive plays. We're not, obviously had the 53-yard touchdown run, but besides that, last few weeks, he hasn't really done a lot. So I think we're going to see a lot of kind of like dud games going forward from him. I would try to sell high if I could on Dalvin Cook, to be honest with you. Miami side of things, we just continue to see more quarterbacks get hurt and them fuck me in fantasy for like 4 straight weeks. For Miami, though, it's nothing new here. Raheem Mostert is the alpha in the backfield. Tyreek Hill is for sure the alpha out wide. I didn't even realize Jalen Waddle went 6 for 129, but Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle again combined for over 130 yards. 300 yards. What the fuck did I say? 130? 30 yards? 300 yards through the air. Tua expected to be back next week, though, so that's good. They play Pittsburgh, who is typically a terrible defense, but we'll get to that in a little bit when we talk about the Bucs-Steelers game. And, once Tua's back in the lineup, you obviously feel a lot better with him operating the offense here. Waddle's back to a high-end wide receiver 2. Tyreek Hill is solidified wide receiver 1, as y'all already know. Raheem Mostert could be a back-end running back 2. He's getting the work, but again, like, it doesn't always lead to a lot in this offense per se. Bengals Saints. On the Cincinnati side of things, Burrow and Chase were electric. And I'll say this is a really big takeaway here. It's very, very clear to me that T. Higgins is far less than 100%. Did not have a good one in this one. 10 targets, but only caught 6 of them for 47 yards. This feels so similar to the Michael Pittman / Gabe Davis injuries we've been dealing with this year. Like, they were very, very clearly under 100%. They had a couple bad games. Everyone was like, oh, they're washed, sell them, whatever. They were playing with like ankle injuries. You gave them a week or two to wash them out and get a little bit of rest, and then they're back to their normal selves. This feels exactly like those situations where T. Higgins is easily like probably the best buy low candidate in fantasy football right now. Okay. He'll be rolling in a week or two. He'll be back to having his T. Higgins games. That's my only takeaway from Cincy, other than Joe Mixon continues to be a blend of Najee Harris and Antonio Gibson and Mike Davis, and you just hate to see it. On the New Orleans side of things, a weird one. Every single one of their wide receivers was out. They play a quick turnaround. They're playing on Thursday Night Football, and we had a report that the Saints do not expect Landry, Mike Thomas, or Marshawn Lattimore against the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. I don't know what the QB situation is going to be here. Jameis Winston, again, obviously didn't play. Dalton played. Taysom Hill mixed in there with some rushes, with some pass attempts. Olave, though, should be back next year, next week. Sorry. And if he is, he's a must start. Okay. We're going to assume he's cleared. He almost played this week, but didn't get cleared off of a concussion. And this is actually a really big takeaway here. I want to zoom in on my stupid fucking face. There has been a change in the protocols for concussions. After the Tua thing, like the NFL changed the rules, and there is a very, very clear, defined change in how the NFL is handling concussions now. Whereas for a long time, or honestly, up until a few weeks ago, if a player got concussed in a game, the likelihood of them playing the following week was probably 50-50 at worst. Most players, if they left concussion, ended up playing the following week. They had to, advance through the concussion protocols. They've changed the protocols. They've changed the rules to the point where now, if it was 50-50 or if it was 40-60 in favor of them sitting the next week, so they had, a higher percentage of chance of actually playing the next week, it is like legitimately, technically, legally different now. Okay. There is a 90 to 95% chance that the player does not play the following week. So even if a dude like Olave, who was a full participant in practice on Friday, 2 days before the game, does not mean he plays. If a player that you're owning suffers a concussion on Sunday, you should expect him not to play the following week. That is a big change from the previous years. Okay. So keep that in mind when players suffer concussions now. And we're back. Let's go to Baltimore and the New York Giants. Ike actually made me a Giants thumbnail for this YouTube video, for this live stream. It was actually pretty good, Ike. I'm not going to lie. Could use like a little bit of work, but overall, like I almost thought about putting it on had I not already made a thumbnail for it. I'm lying. I never would have put a Giants thumbnail as the fucking center for this. But on the Baltimore side of things, Lamar Jackson here. All right, listen. A few things here. The offense is kind of brutal right now for Baltimore. Like all they're doing is saying like, Lamar, please make something happen. Please, God. We're not going to pay you, but please play like we paid you $700 million. But like, what does this man have to work with? This man has literally nothing to work outside of Mark Andrews. He has nowhere to go with the ball. Like Devin Duvernay, he's cute. He's legitimately a return guy. Like his wide receiver one is a return man. Okay. They need Rashad Bateman back bad. He's another one like T. Higgins that feels like such a clear buy low to me right now. When he's back there, he is the guy. When he's back on the field, he is the wide receiver one. Even if you don't even think he's that good, like there's nobody else in this fucking offense. He is working with nothing, and Bateman is a very good player. Yesterday we were tailgating at MetLife. It was the first time I've been in New Jersey since we like basically partnered with Mojo. So I finally got to play on the app, and I bought a bunch of stock in Rashad Bateman. I know he wasn't playing, so you say like, oh, it's terrible. The stock's going to keep going down. Bateman, now's the time to buy him in Mojo, in fantasy, because when he gets back, I feel like this absence has shown you just how much they don't fucking have in that passing game, man. The backfield is an absolute mess as well. J.K. Dobbins. So, we were saying, I feel like this was kind of obvious that he was a little bit of a trap play for the last few weeks. He had that big 2-touchdown game, which was basically everything that happened. And his fantasy point total went like over 20, and everyone's like, he's back. But he was never back. He never really looked explosive. He didn't get like the full workload in that backfield. It was still a committee. And now, after this game, he didn't play at all in the second half. And they're saying that like his knee tightened up. I don't know what that means. I was listening to a few different angles or takes on it this morning. A lot of the times when these players come back from the ACL, what happens is like their hamstring or their quad tightens up, right? That's what happened to like Chris Godwin. That's not what they said happened here. They said his knee tightened up. That could be really bad. If the knee swelled back up, this is going to be a problem for Dobbins. If it was a different muscle, whatever, but you could also look at Godwin and say he's out for like 3 weeks, right? So this is not good news for Dobbins. Kenyan Drake filled in 10 carries, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Caught one of his 2 targets, but that was obviously a big day for him. The problem with this entire backfield is like the running backs just don't get a lot of opportunities here. No matter what game you're looking at, they're getting between like 15 and 17 opportunities. That's such a low number for a team that's, supposed to be run heavy. It's all Lamar Jackson pretty much at this point. So here's the thing. Drake dominated the backfield. Gus Edwards could be back soon. I don't really know when he's actually going to be back. If he and Dobbins, Gus and Dobbins, which I expect both miss next week, they play against the horrendous Cleveland Browns defense. So Drake will be like a really solid fill-in RB2 if you're desperate right now on the wire. On the Giants side of things, man, they just keep fucking getting things done. Saquon rolling. The only real takeaway I guess I have here is Wandel Robinson. He's biked. First game he's played since week 1. 4 targets, 3 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. So I would look his way on the waiver wire. Like, I'm not like fully looking, you know. Maybe I put like some sunglasses on and like kind of squint his way. I'm not going crazy with him, but he's like one of the only playmakers they have in this offense right now. And it's not great there, but they're getting that shit done. So I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about either of the New York teams, man. Just win, baby. Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh. I don't know what we just witnessed here. I don't know what is happening with Tampa Bay, but it wasn't good, okay? Just really, really gross. There's not a huge takeaway here. It's like you start Lenny every week, you start Mike Evans every week, and now you start Chris Godwin for sure every week, right? He was like our easiest buy low candidate. We had posted a few videos talking about that going into this game. Now he gets 12 targets, 6 for 95 in this one. Touchdowns will eventually come. So those 3 guys are in your lineup every week, of course. Cameron Brate got hurt. He's going to be out for a while. He got conked up for the second time in 3 weeks. So you're looking at his backup, K-Dot, and this rookie. I think he's someone, you know, if you're in a deeper tight end premium league or something, he's not owned in a dynasty league. He's for sure someone that you can give a look to, because we've had some minor success from tight ends in a Tom Brady-led offense. On the flip side of things, though, Kenny Pickett gets hurt, concussed. Again, we expect him to miss next week, right? We reiterate, if you get conked this year or, you know, going forward, the chances of you missing the next week are over 90% now. It's the way they changed the protocol. So Pickett's going to be out most likely. Trubisky comes in and actually plays a good game. 9 for 12, 144 yards, a touchdown. What does this mean for the rest of the team? I mean, I don't know, dude. Najee Harris continues to do his best fucking impression of a hot dog when he's on the field. The pass catchers, like, it's unfortunate because with Pickett on the field, George Pickens was getting a lot of run, getting a lot of looks, getting a lot of targets, and producing. Mitch Trubisky comes back on the field for one fucking game, and then it goes all back to Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. I'm not chasing this Chase Claypool game. Okay, we've seen this many times. This is just how players play. Every once in a while, you're an athletic player, you have a big game. Chase Claypool does not ever do that consistently. So expecting Trubisky to play, Deontay Johnson becomes the one there again. I don't think you could play Pickens realistically next week. I don't think you can play Chase Claypool. Maybe, I mean, listen, you can play those guys as like desperate flex guys, but I'm not going to have them ranked highly. Najee Harris continues to be like a low-end RB2 for me in the rankings going forward. Deontay Johnson will be, he's someone I want in my lineup, I guess, next week. They are playing against the Dolphins, okay? So it's a pretty good defense, but definitely a beatable secondary. Panthers, Rams. There's literally nothing to take away from the Panther side. You start Christian McCaffrey every week, and you don't look at any other single player. On the Rams side of things, so the Rams don't look great either. We'll start with that, because Cam Akers is out here playing games behind the scenes. We have no idea what's happening here, but he has for sure played his last snap as an LA Ram. I can't wait. I'm very, very intrigued to see what is happening out here in LA. Their O-line is putrid, so no one's going to have success behind it. Darrell Henderson should lead the backfield for the remainder of the season. I do think he probably does that. He did in this one, ran the most routes, had the most snaps, had the most touches, all that kind of stuff. But he's like splitting work with the corpse of Malcolm Brown. I thought Malcolm Brown was retired. I honestly thought he might have been dead at one point, but he's not. He's playing over Darrell Henderson at some points. 7 for 15 on the ground. But Darrell Henderson gets 12 carries, 43 yards, does get the goal line score. He catches 2 of 3 targets for 9 yards. So the production wasn't necessarily there, but he did get in the end zone. So if you started him, you ended up getting like 13, 14 points. So you're happy with it. Going forward, you can't really trust him, but you kind of have to start him because he is going to be the starter there, and he will get, 13 to 15 touches and hopefully a goal line score like he did in this one. Is this an Allen Robinson bounce back? Shut the fuck up. No. He went 5 for 63 in a There has been no less instance of a player not having the dog in him than Allen Robinson, bro. It's like you watch him play and you feel bad for him. I don't know what happened to him, bro. I hope they make a 30 for 30 on just this fantasy football offseason and what happened to Allen Robinson. I mean, they can make a whole fucking hour-long video of just me talking about on Robinson, how good he was going to be this year. Not good. It's not good, guys. Went 5 for 63 and a touchdown. That's 14.8 fantasy points. I went back and I looked. Through 6 weeks, there have been 112 different pass catchers that have hit that number, okay? This is not an Al Robinson bounce back. This is just I got lucky because I play with Matt Stafford and I had one good fucking game. Sell the shit out of him. I honestly might rather have Ben Skoranek rest of the season. I don't know if I'm lying or not. I'm not sure if I'm doing that for dramatic effect or not, but the fact that I'm even contemplating it should tell you enough. Next up, we've got the Chiefs and the Bills. The Bills was a good game. Ended up being and not as exciting as you'd like, but Bills 24, Chiefs 20. Josh Allen did his thing. Here's, with Buffalo, there's not much to take away here. You start Diggs every week. You start Gabriel Davis every week. Outside of that, I think we probably should be done. I'm guilty of this. We probably should be done playing whack-a-mole with Isaiah McKenzie, Khalil Shakir, Dawson Knox, all right? And Singletary has been great when they decide that they want to use him, but you just never know when that's going to be. I think you start him as a low-end RB2 every single week because he's good when they give him the work. But you know damn well that next week he might just get 8 carries and 0 targets. So that's just part of how fantasy football works. I think the biggest takeaway from the Chiefs side of things is literally every single player on the Kansas City Chiefs outside of Travis Kelce is a sell high at all times. Every single player on this team you could sell high on any given week besides Travis Kelce. You obviously hold on to him and let him take you to a championship. Clyde is another stinker. It's back-to-back. Jerick McKinnon led the backfield in snaps this week for the 5th time this year. All right? Clyde's getting touchdowns, and he's looked good sometimes, but his floor is so low. All right? So you could sell high Clyde next time he has a good game. Juju, another easy sell for me. All right? 5 for 113 and a touchdown on just 5 targets. With Juju, I was listening to a lot of stuff leading up to this game, and Juju, clearly, he's not a separator. He's not a good player versus man coverage. He never has been and never will be. It's just not who he is. He's really good against zone coverage, and the Buffalo Bills play zone coverage, have played at least. Maybe that has to do with Tre'Davious White being out, but they've played zone coverage on defense more than any other team in the NFL. So it felt like a perfect matchup where Juju can do what he does best. The Buffalo Bills are going to give that wide receiver the opportunity to do what he does best, and it resulted in a big game. 5 for 113 and touchdown. Do I expect this going forward? Absolutely fucking not, okay? I would sell Juju if I could. Like, listen, you start 6 games with Mahomes, I would fucking hope, and you're forced into a full-time role, you better have at least one good game. He still does not have a single red zone target on the entire year. So, no, we hate Juju. All my dogs hate every Kansas City player. Let's move to Arizona and Seattle. Arizona got to be like the worst fucking offense in the NFL to have to watch. I cannot imagine being a Cardinals fan. I'd want to die. I guess I just stick to red zone. It ain't that hard for fucking fix. Here's the thing. Like, Kyler has had absolutely no ceiling. He hasn't had a single top 8 fantasy finish this year. Hollywood Brown, the injury. I don't know if we've had any updates since we started this video. We'll check on this Twitter sphere for me real quick. Sunday's game with a foot injury, spotted after the game of walking boot. Yeah, sure. X-rays were negative. I don't think we have anything like really updated for Marquis Brown, but as you could see, his Mojo numbers, he has dropped tremendously, and I think for good reason. When the stock price drops on Mojo, like you could see with Marquis, what it does is it basically takes into account like what the future value of your on-field production is going to be going forward, right? And you might say like, oh, he'll be out for a couple of weeks, but this also opens up the door for a lot of things to happen in this Arizona offense. Like, it couldn't have been better timing for people who own DeAndre Hopkins, right? Because he'll be back next week. He had the 6-game suspension. Rondell Moore is starting to get a little bit of breakout. So by the time Marquis comes back, one, is he hampered by this injury for the remainder of the entire season? This could either be a turf toe injury, which regardless of what this ends up coming back as, what I've read and what I've seen so far is pretty much best case scenario. He's probably out like a minimum of 3 weeks. This looks like a severe case of turf toe, or it could have been the Liz Frank. Remember, he came into the NFL. He got drafted when he had like a screw in his foot because he had a serious Liz Frank injury. Could be one of those two things. We'll figure out more as the week progresses, but this is not good fucking news for Hollywood Brown. Okay. So expect to be without him for a minute. And as I said, with D-Hop coming back, I think you can put him right back into your lineup now. Obviously, with Hollywood out, he should be the one, but I'm a little bit hesitant on what D-Hop's going to offer us going forward. Is he the same player now? He's missed a lot of time. He's no longer fucking juicing up. we'll see. I think you can definitely put him in your flex spot, obviously, now. But Rondo Moore is like the other story here. Rondo Moore, 8 targets and 10 targets over the last 2 weeks, getting super involved. He looks explosive. They don't have a lot of like holes and great scheming for him, but he can absolutely bust one. He's really, really fast. He's really athletic. They keep giving him 10 fucking 10 fucking opportunities a game, and he's gonna make one explode. So Rondell Moore, if he's still available on your waiver wire, he's someone that I would definitely look to spend a little bit of fab on if you need it for bye weeks, whatnot. And Ike Baby just texted me saying that the Arizona Cardinals turn around on Thursday Night Football. I was actually about to get to that because I was talking about Benjamin. So saw 87% of the snaps in this one. He didn't do much with them, and since they do play on Thursday Night Football, the quick turnaround, we don't know if James Conner and or Darrell Williams will be like for this one, okay? If they don't go, then I think you could put Eno in as like a low-end RB2. We don't know what kind of production is going to come from this Cardinals offense. The offensive line is not good. He did get 18 touches, though, so you could do much worse than Benjamin right now. So keep a really close eye on like all the practice reports from Arizona this week. It's going to be a lot of moving parts here, but they play on Thursday, so you're going to have to get things in order in your house, in the House of Parliament, very quickly. Eno, Rondell, D-Hop, the guys we're looking out on, and, of course, the injury to Hollywood. On the Seattle side of things, man, the takeaway here is just Kenneth Walker. Kenneth fucking Walker. This dude is like a ballerina behind the line of scrimmage. He is fun to watch. He is just a top 15 fantasy running back with way more upside than that easily going forward. Obviously, how much pass catching work is he going to get? How many goal line ops is his team going to get? I think we've come to the point where like they're a good enough, like they're at least, right below average, if not maybe an average offense enough to give him enough scoring, give him as many scoring opportunities as the average offenses in the NFL are, right? They're not the Bears where David Montgomery has like one fucking goal line carry on the year. Kenneth Walker, obviously in your lineup every single week going forward, 21 for 97 and a touchdown in this one. He also did see 3 targets, 2 for 13. So Kenneth Walker's awesome, dude. Good for you, the people that have this dude on their squad. And the last game of the evening was Sunday Night Football. We have the Dallas Cowboys getting beat by the 6-0 Philadelphia Eagles, man. They could just do the Eagles can just do no wrong here. They can do no wrong on offense. They did lose Lane Johnson in this one. They did lose their starting tackle. So we'll see if that has an effect going forward. It definitely did in this game. Like they were dominating to start, but then Micah Parsons started getting a lot of pressure once Johnson went out. So we'll see how they adapt, but this team can throw the ball if they want. They could run the ball if they want. We have seen first 3 weeks of the season, Hurts was throwing the ball like 33 times a game. Last 3 weeks of the season, this previous 3 weeks, he's down to like 28 pass attempts. In this one, you could see he threw the ball 25 times. The team rushed the ball 39 times. Miles Sanders, 18 for 71 and touchdown. So he continues to be a really solid high-end RB2 for you. Pass catchers are just kind of go up and down with the amount of production that Jalen Hurts has. But you start Hurts, you start Sanders, you start Brown, you start Smith, you start Goddard every week. Dallas, we need Dak Bite. I think he should be back next week. 3 interceptions for Cooper Rush in this one. That's an extremely tough Philly defense, pass defense to go against. So not surprising whatsoever. I will say the backfield here, man. There was a point, I don't know if any of y'all saw this, but there was a point in the game, I think it was the second half, when Zeke was on the sideline. Pollard had taken over, and he was playing the entire drive for the Cowboys. And while he was playing, they zoomed in to Zeke on the sideline. They panned to him on the sideline, and it felt like it wasn't like he was pouting on the sideline. It wasn't like, Coach, why am I not playing? I don't really know how to explain it, but he looked, it's weird, right? It looked like he was like inspired. Like it felt like for the first time ever, or the first time in a long time, it was like Zeke felt like he needed to re-earn his spot. It felt like he needed to prove people wrong again. And the very next fucking drive was probably the best drive that Zeke has had all season. And he capped it off with that rushing touchdown at the end, or, from like 12 yards out or whatever, where he took it in. I am cautiously optimistic about Zeke right now. Okay. Hopefully we see Dak out on the field. I feel like he's getting hungry. I feel like he's heard the noise. I feel like he's heard everything about the contract. I feel like he's heard that he can't really play anymore. There's no big plays. He's just not, what he was anymore. And I don't know why, but it came at a certain moment in this game where like Zeke, you could just see the hunger on that drive, and hopefully we get that going forward because they play Detroit next week. And if Dak is back, they play Detroit. That's a defense you could run all over. I think Zeke might be in for a stretch. Let me see who Dallas plays over the next few weeks. They play Detroit, then they play Chicago. They got a bye, and then Green Bay. So we might see some massive weeks from Zeke over the next 2 games. And I'm fucking here for it, man. I am here for it. I'm here for y'all. That wraps up all 14 games for this week. How we doing in the chat out here? Man, we gotta stay blocking people, huh? Marquis Brown, hearing high ankle, good timing with Hopkins return. All right, but regardless, high ankle, turf toe probably puts you at about the same return timetable, a few weeks, whatever. What else is going on in the chat? Tua over Stafford and T-Law rest of season. I probably, I mean, they're all like matchup depending guys for me. I think all of them rank in that like high end quarterback 2, maybe quarterback 12 to 16, 17 range. And they'll kind of just like cycle their rankings the rest of season. So I don't know if I have a hard take on any of those 3 guys. Going forward, it'll be more like matchup weekly dependent. No Dimes had a sweep on his Foursquare in the Pick'em episode. About time these boys fucking provided some rev for you boys. They said boys 6 times there. Remind me never to do that. Shout out Tony No Dimes. Finally hitting a bet. What happened to Christian Kirk? Listen, like this team is just ebbing and flowing with Trevor Lawrence and how explosive they are. But Kirk ended up getting in the end zone. I'm not too worried about Kirk. Homies, I want to remind you, though, please do not forget to go to PrizePicks and hit that Steph Curry 0.5 points. It's a free fucking square just sitting there for you. Oh, Ike, you're so fast. That was beautiful. Free fucking square. All he has to do is score a single bucket on opening night tomorrow night, all right? And it's free money for you. So go to PrizePicks, use the promo code BDGE, and they're going to double whatever you put down, and then you can put all that shit on Steph Curry. They just want you to come, pause, have fun, play on their platform, all right? So they're just giving you incentive to come onto the platform for absolutely no reason. I need 20 points. Mike Williams or Judy for tonight. Jesus. I don't think you're going to hit it with either of them. I expect this to be not a very fun game to watch. I actually just sent out our newsletter about an hour ago with my favorite PrizePicks plays for the night. I send it out every Thursday, every Sunday, and every Monday. And to be 100% honest with you, I'm not even actually sure where you guys can sign up. I know you get on the list if you go to ikeslunch.com and you guess what Ike has. If you go to ikeslunch.com and then on the top bar, you go to guess Ike's lunch and you submit onto the leaderboard, you will be put on. I have to get a form outside of that for you guys to sign up. But I take my favorite PrizePicks plays every Thursday, Sunday, and Monday and send out an email to you guys for that. And this week's play, or tonight's play, I took Mike Williams under 68.5 receiving yards because here's the thing. Like Mike Williams has been a menace on the outside. However, Denver's pass D is really good. And Mike Williams does not win by separation. He wins by like bullying the cornerback that's next to him. And Patrick Surtain has been one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL this year, hands down. He's 6'2", 210 pounds. He's not a dude that you get to bully, okay? So I think Mike Williams is going to struggle. The other thing is without Keenan Allen, this Denver pass defense only has to focus on Mike Williams. I'm sure they're going to sit there and say, like, let Josh Palmer beat us. Let Gerald Everett beat us. We can let Austin Eckler catch balls behind the line of scrimmage. I have a lot of reservation about Mike Williams going off tonight. I don't think Judy's necessarily going to have a great game either. So, like, it's kind of pick your poison. And I guess, like, obviously I could be wrong here. I think Mike Williams probably has a lot more upside. Like, he could, he can go 4 for 30 and catch 2 touchdown passes just because he beats a guy on a red zone jump or something. So personally, there's no shot I'm starting Jerry Jeudy over Mike Williams, but I don't imagine a big game coming from Mike Williams with all that being said. How we doing? Build me a Monday night PrizePicks and I'll put $50 on it. All right, Ike. Say less, baby. Run it then. I'm going to share my screen, Ike. Easier for me. We're going to build a little slip right now for you. All right. So I think the way to build a slip is kind of trying to get an idea of how you imagine the game itself playing out. This one, I think we're going to see a little bit of an underwhelming game just because the Denver offense has not been good. And while the Chargers offense is good, again, I think they're going to get a little one-dimensional in the passing game with Mike Williams, and it's not going to be something that they could do against Patrick Surtain. So I think we just see probably a lot of unders here. So I said Mike Williams, less. And as I said earlier, like you can combine different sports. So if you have not hit that Steph Curry 0.5 line, definitely hit less on that. I've already used it, so I can't use it again. But, you know, obviously that's an easy win right there. What else do we got? How you guys feeling on these other plays? Eckler, 59.5 rushing yards. I don't hate Melvin Gordon. The Chargers' rush defense is really, really bad. I'd imagine they probably try to stay on the ground a little bit, but 54.5 seems a little bit lofty. I don't hate 14.5 receiving yards for Melvin Gordon. I don't think they have a reception lineup for him yet. I don't know why they're not doing it. Just put it at 2.5 and be done with it. I think I might take the over 14.5 receiving yards because last week I was talking about how Gordon and Javonte Williams, the first, 4 or 5 weeks of this season, whenever it was Javonte Williams on the field, when they were on the field together, they averaged 6 catches a game. And most of that is now being funneled to Melvin Gordon. So I think this feels like an over there. I do think Mike Boone gets a little bit more involved in this one. They don't have any rushing yards on him. They don't have any receiving yards on him. Give him some fucking respect. I don't think they know what Latavius Murray is doing. I think that is the problem here. I don't know if we know if he's active, so they haven't put lines up for the other running backs. KJ Hamler over 2 receptions. Has he had a game? He hasn't had a game with more than a reception this year, huh? Should we take some fucking field goals? Should we take some fucking field goals? I kind of feel like the over Brandon McManus is the move right here. They're like a good they're not a good offense, but I don't like taking any special team stuff with the Chargers because all they do is go for it on 4th downs. Fantasy score. See, I kind of like Melvin over 12.5 because that gives him an out. If he catches 4 passes, his full PPR too. If he catches 4 passes or if he just rumbles into the end zone for a touchdown, then you hit it. Portland, 14.5. Mike Williams, 15.5. That feels lofty as shit, too. You can't do 2 of the same player, I don't believe. Rush plus receiving. Josh Kelly up at 31.5, huh? Eckler, 4 receptions. Yeah, I kind of like this. Yeah, I think this, I like the over there, too. We'll hit more on that. Because, again, I think they take away the outside passing game, and they've just relied so heavily on Eckler in the passing game the recent weeks. I do need to pick one person from Denver, I believe. Who do you like for Denver? I kind of like the under on Russ. Rush yards. He's not really running the ball. Oh, he has been a little bit active in the run game, huh? We need one on Denver. We need one on Denver, boys. Do we like Sutton over 67.5? I think we need to take an under. I think we need to take an under here. I think it's Judy. I don't trust that motherfucker. What has he ever done to earn trust about anything? Oh, wait, I could take McManus. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're going over on the field goals, all right? Mike Williams, under 68.5. Austin Eckler, over 4 receptions. Also, if it hits 4, then it's a tie. It's a push. You don't lose. It just counts these 2. It multiplies on these 2. Brandon McManus, over 1.5 field goals. We can flex play it, so you minimize your risk, but we're going to power play it. So we have to hit all 3. Correct, all right? So we're going to put a bucko on it. A 5X. 100 for 500. Let's fucking run it, boys. Let's do it. All right. That's going to wrap up the stream. Thank you guys for hanging around this Monday. I've got some work to do. Ikey, baby, thank you for the production, sir. Thank you guys for hanging around. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Make sure you sign up for the email list on ikeslunch.com. And I'll send you out my favorite PrizePicks plays every Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. Most importantly, hit PrizePicks for that Steph Curry 0.5 line. Waiver wire rankings will go up tomorrow on the site, bdge.co, where you can become a Big Dog member. I love y'all. I'm out.